He's just a guy, a normal guy, a really tall, incredibly athletic guy who never misses. Right. Anyone else remember when defenders actually did their job? I hate being between the sticks. Monitor! Yeah! Ref! You know what? This is calm. I've got front row tickets to an absolute worldly.
This keeps good. By the way, this is for all Manchester City fans and for all Norway fans. Is there anyone from Norway or Manchester City fan here? All right. The next 30 minutes, I'll be talking about patterns and vicious circles inside organizations. Now, I'll stop wasting your time and I'll immediately give you my main key takeaway of my presentation. Everything you need to know from my presentation, it will be on the next slides. If you need to take pictures, this will be the moment. I strongly believe we're all humans, I believe, sitting here in this room. Humans, we like routines, we like patterns. If you look to organizations, they are built by humans. So actually, in essence, you can say that organizations are built on patterns. And it's these small patterns repeated blindly which can create big problems. Real change starts with breaking the loop we no longer see. There you go. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a nice time. Get some coffee. Bye-bye. Thank you. No, seriously. We'll be talking about vicious circles. Now, in order to get things going a little bit, this will be right before lunch, so it will be an interactive session, but stay cool, stay chill, don't worry, don't panic out. Let's start with a definition. I really like definitions, you'll notice. What is a vicious circle? A vicious circle is a continuing unpleasant situation created where one problem causes another problem, and then this hurts, makes the first problem even worse. Cambridge Dictionary. Now, to give you an example, let's imagine you're sitting inside a meeting, you get an email, a Slack message, a Teams message, whatever, and suddenly you see an acronym appearing for which you have totally no clue at all what it actually means. What usually happens afterwards is we don't ask what it means. What usually even happens afterwards is we start using it by ourselves, and even more acronyms appearing for which we have no clue what it means. Which happens afterwards is it gets harder to ask now because you're working in the company for years. I see you nodding. You know, I have a friend who has the theory that in every company there is at least one acronym existing and no one knows what it means. Does this sound familiar? Yeah, all right. Now, I've been, over the past years, really passionate about patterns, vicious circles, routines, also in private lives, but also in professional lives. There are a couple of books who helped me creating this passion. One of the most famous one is most likely Atomic Habits from James Clear. I wanted to share this with you. It's really some good literature. Now, along the way, I also tried to come up with some kind of magical formula on how to deal with patterns. It's really simple. You don't need a PhD to understand it. It's really pretty simple. But it all starts with 3 phases. The first phase is the experience part. You are experiencing a certain pattern. At this instant moment, you're experiencing a conference talk. Some of you might like it. Some of you might say, I don't know. Sorry about that. The second phase after this is usually when you come to realize, okay, that certain behavior or experience which is leading to a good or bad situation is not what we consider as normal behavior. So you detected a certain pattern. Third phase, you have 2 choices. Either way you leave it as it is, or either way you decide to break free. There it is. Basic formula, simple, no PhD required. I told you this is an interactive session, so be careful. I want to do together an exercise with you where I would like to put this formula into practice. Shall we do that? Yeah? Yeah? All right, let's go. I have an attribute. Bear with me. I'm going to share a story. Could you turn it down a little bit? Thank you. It's summer 2021. A young man suddenly receives a phone call from his high pregnant wife. Honey, can you please come home as fast as you can? I've lost a tremendous amount of blood and something isn't right. Young man drives home as fast as he can. Arriving there, the first thing he sees is his 2-year-old daughter sitting next to his crying wife. His daughter asks, Daddy, are we going to get a baby brother now? Instead of saying yes or no, the young man replied with, I don't know. I just don't know. So they drive to the hospital. Arriving there, the first investigations immediately took off. After a short period of time, the doctors came back saying, we have good news. Everything is all right. Your baby boy is healthy and alive. But in order to avoid any further risks, we're going to lean in a birth. And so it happens, they're leaning in the birth. And as that goes with any birth, you do have that wonderful moment where the baby is there trying to open up their eyes, seeing the first signs of life on this beautiful planet. Not in this case. In this case, something else happened. The heartbeat of the young boy started to decrease, 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 until you have a nearly flat line, which you only see in movies, but you never want to see it in real life. This was me 4 years ago, nearly seeing my son dying in front of my eyes. It's the most horrible experience of my entire life. Now, I immediately got to say, the doctors did a tremendous amount of job in saving him, and today he's a successful 4-year-old adult. That's how it goes with 4-year-olds, they're adults. Now, you might be thinking, how is this basically related to patterns and the talk that you're watching? Well, I got to say, the months after that particular situation, I wasn't doing well. I was constantly being reminded about the images which I faced. Whereas my wife told me, Davy, I have the feeling you're not doing great. What happens is, obviously, you go in a defense mode. No, this is not true, and I'm doing great, and blah, 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 blah. No, I really wasn't doing great. My wife helped me in making sure that I was experiencing something which was not what we consider as normal behavior. So I had the choice to break free and to ask for professional help on how to deal with all the images which I faced. One of the things that I do is I started talking about it. Same like I'm doing now together with you. At the beginning, I told this is an interactive session. This is usually the moment where the interactivity just left the room. But we'll get it back. Celia, are you doing great? Yeah? Okay. Some interactivity is already back. A couple of months back, while I was in London, I was basically, this is a true story, I was preparing a talk, Feedback Loop from Hell. I was running a street in London and I crossed by a pub, which is called a Speaker. And I was like, whoa, this is a sign. I need to enter this pub. So I entered the pub, ordered myself an English beer, sit myself at the bar. At the end of the bar, there was a book called A to Z of Business Bullshit. Again, this was a sign. I talk about a lot of bullshit, so this clearly must be something for me. I opened the book, true story, on a random page while preparing the talk, Feedback Loop from Hell. The first word which I see is feedback. With some kind of weird definition, unwanted comment, litany of complaint, long list of moans and misgiving, blah, 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 blah. Preface to a conversation, may I give you some feedback, Kevin? Seriously, if there was mentioned Davy in this book, I would have burned it. But what is the nice thing about this book, suddenly within brackets they say, see, blah, 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 quality feedback, shit sandwich. And I was like, oh, quality feedback, that's my job. So what happens is I searched out for quality feedback. Massive bawling out from one boss about shitty workmanship, incompetence, poor attitudes. And in brackets they say, C, blah, 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 defects. And I'm like, whoa, defects. I'll not go inside that direction, but before I realized it was 11 o'clock and the bar closed and I was stuck in a pattern for the past 1 hour and a half. Clearly it happened again. Yesterday in the front of my hotel there was a bookstore, entered the bookstore. This was the book being proposed there. I only reached it till the cover line this time. I clearly broke the pattern here. What I want to do with you is I'd like to share with you 3 different kind of patterns which I see coming across organizations. The first one is TCSD. Anyone familiar with TCSD? Of course not. I made it up all by myself. Stands for Test Coverage Stress Disorder. It's described in some kind of rare book, like a chronic condition affecting software teams who believe 100% code coverage equates 100% quality. Also described with some diagnostic criteria and common treatments. To give you an example, I really like code coverage, by the way, but to give you an example, let's say that you need to write a function which provides you a certain discount if you use a code, Summer 21, or a discount for free shipping. Well, pretty easy, this is your code. If you want to implement 100% test coverage, well, pretty easy. What you do, you just add a unit test, Summer 21, free ship, and a unit test with no code. There you go, shaka, 100% test coverage. But what happens if you use both codes at the same time? No F clue, but hey, I have 100% test coverage, my metrics are okay. So clearly, we might have an issue here. So we still focus on getting 100% test coverage, but we spend lots of time on production incident support. So how can we detect this? Increasing number of production incidents. Quality metrics is built around test coverage. We have metrics, but we're not doing anything with them. So to me, it's not about which metrics you use, but we also don't need to add metrics, but we need smarter ones. We already talked about DORA, measure what matters, NPS scores, chase failure rates, but also if you follow Gartner reports, one of their clear insights these days, besides AI, is the adoption of software intelligence platforms, which you can integrate with your Jira platforms, your GitHubs, or your Microsoft Azures, is collecting data, analyzing that data, and doing some reports based upon the data which is inside your systems. Now, we all know DORA. I really love DORA. I had a chat with one of the founders from DORA a couple of weeks back. We talked about DORA, but we also talked about SPACE framework, which is a new kind of way of measuring things based on 5 pillars: satisfaction, well-being, performance, collaboration and communication, activity, efficiency, and flow. I'll not go into details. I've dropped a link over here and below. If you take a picture, you can find it out by yourself. It's really good literature. How to compare it with DORA? DORA is focused on pipeline optimization. SPACE is really focused on team optimizations. You still with me? Yeah? I like to share a second pattern. So to me, before we go there, it's not about which metric do you use, but what is the last time a metric changed your behavior? Think about this. If you use metrics, you don't do anything. Metrics are intended to change behavior. Second pattern is fate. Not faith, but fate. Standing for false AI trust syndrome. This is something that we all know. Whenever we're chatting with a Gen AI system, you would get feedback like, oh, excellent idea. Oh, you're building something powerful here. Oh, great move, Davy. Oh, you're such a code master. I nearly want to kiss you. Sorry, I let go of my enthusiasm a little bit. But clearly, it's also, again, described in some kind of rare book, like a chronic condition affecting individuals and teams who develop blind trust in AI-generated output, regardless of the plausibility of the real, accurate world. Overwhelmed with a triggered, overwhelming urge to ship faster. I'll give you a clear example of an AI bug or an AI case of Air Canada. I really hope no one is flying with Air Canada at this instant moment. Or not, oh yeah, to come to this conference. But what happened is Air Canada, they've built an AI chatbot for which they could use to interact with their passengers in case there are a certain situation. One of their passengers was on a holiday and suddenly his mother passed away. So he interacted with the AI chatbot, explaining his situation, whereas the AI chatbot replied with, "I'm very sorry to hear this bad news. And please, what you can do is you can book a regular ticket, and whenever you are ready after the funeral, just reach out to our customer support center to ask for a refund." I won't need to tell the rest of the story for you to know that this person didn't get his refunds. But what was more scary is that when contacting the customer support center, Air Canada replied with, "I'm very sorry for this situation and to hear this news, but you didn't follow the correct process. And we know that you have been interacting with our chatbot, which gave you certain information which was only purpose for indication purposes. And we count on the passengers to make sure the validity of this certain information." Ouch. He pulled Air Canada to court, and Air Canada had a 1.8 billion brand damage loss. Clearly, you don't want to be the next Air Canada here. So if you notice in your team that the team stopped discussing certain issues, because we just ask a tool, we just take the output from a tool because it generally works out in some cases, and we get a decreasing understanding of the code. I'm not saying AI is something bad, no, totally not at all, but you need to compare it with the fact that within today and a couple of years, if Europe allows, we will all have self-driving cars. But it's up to the humans to define where is my starting point, where is my end point. It's humans who define this context. So the better we will get at defining this context, the better your outputs will also be. There is a website, artificialanalysis.ai, who is collecting data. It's analyzing the data of the AI outputs. If you take a random GitHub issue, it's capable in 85% of the time to make sure that this code is completely working if given the proper context. So my main message is that AI, we need to use it to elevate quality, but not to replace its responsibility. Mastering the art of giving feedback. We should train our models and prompts to get used to our context. Something which we are starting in our company is pair programming on AI outputs. We use the AI output and we start pair programming with the propositions from the AI system. All right, third and last pattern which I'd like to share is tests. This sounds familiar. Throw everything to the same team. Described as a widespread organizational disorder where all responsibility for quality is pushed to the same team, equating QA with the people who usually break things and assuming the developers don't care about quality. When I was young, I was working in a restaurant. One of the nice things about a restaurant is that everyone working in the restaurant, whether you're a chef, a bartender, a waiter, a dishwasher, cleaning person, you're all responsible about the successful evening of your clients. Whenever I started working in IT, it suddenly became pretty rare or strange to me that whenever we talk about QA, it's suddenly a pure only responsibility of a certain expert in the organization, which is a QA expert, which is all of us. It was also pretty strange to me that I was the only one caring about quality and constantly fighting change in my organization. Now, I'll tell you one painful truth. Everyone sitting here in this room, I'm pretty sure you're all intellectual people. And it's that superpower in your own intellectual and your own hard work which got you until this point in your career. But intellectual superpowers and your hard work will not be sufficient anymore going forward. With the new AI era being being right for us, this will not be sufficient anymore. If your only job today exists on running tests, AI is already better at it. So we urgently need to think carefully, how is this impacting my job? I'll give you a hypothetical situation to think about. Let's say that you would like to start a startup. You have a wonderful idea to build a product. But the caveat is you only have budget for one person to hire. A couple of years back, you most likely would have hired a software engineer. Because without code, you don't have a product, right? Now, let's move fast forward a couple of years within today and 2 years. With what we know in the AI era today, you still have budget for one person. Would you still hire someone who is capable on writing code? Or would you hire someone who is capable and knows how to get quality inside a product, how to interact with AI agents? Would you hire a person who knows how to develop code instead of a person who knows how to build successful products using AI agents? Think about this. Our market is currently completely being influenced by the AI era which we're in. And I have good news. But for that good news, we need to see one painful truth. And that painful truth might be that today you are thinking, this is not applying to me or my context. I'm different. No, you're not. No. This painful truth is everything which we have learned till now, everything which we have been doing over the past years, in order to move forward, we need to change our ways of working. If we become quality enablers by using the AI agents, by using our knowledge, we can still survive in this AI era. But we need to drastically change the way we're working. You are all here today and yesterday on UStaff, one of the best QA conferences in Europe. You decided, it was a conscious decision, you decided to be here, to learn new things. Compared to other people who decided not to be here, you clearly have one step ahead on people not being here today. But it's also an invitation to you, and every one of you, you are here on this conference. It's an invitation to you all as well to start doing something differently as of tomorrow. Start using, we're still in the early baby phase of the AI era, but it's up to you to completely change our ways of working in the next coming years. If not, it will be soon game over. Which brings me back to my original main key takeaway of my presentation. We all like habits, routines, but the routine which we've been following over the past years won't be sufficient anymore going forward today and the upcoming years. I have a free bonus gift for you. If you take your smartphone, you scan the LinkedIn profile, you connect with me on LinkedIn, I have a bonus gift, 2 bonus gifts. I have a 4th pattern which I would like to share with you. And if you come and see me at the Meet the Speaker area afterwards, I'll do a gamble of those 2 wonderful books. Really, it's an eye-opener if you want to have a couple of beers with your friends. It's a really interesting book. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Davy. Thank you. That was a really, really good presentation. I enjoyed it very much. It made sense even for me, who is not a tester or a developer or anything like that. So I really enjoyed it. Questions? Do we have any questions? Let's see our questions. What is the biggest bullshit you have ever heard in the IT business sector?
We won't do this because we have been doing this before and it doesn't work. Your idea, I really like it, but no, 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 no. This won't work in our context. Our company is different. This won't work.
This won't work. That is bullshit. What is your go-to formula for giving feedback?
Personal feedback, I assume, or professional feedback. I guess professional feedback to a person or giving feedback to an organization. Because to me, that's a bit different. Giving professional feedback to an individual is have a coffee, have a chat together with that person, and he will be thankful for the feedback. He will be really thankful, have a conversation with him or her. In terms of organizational feedback, it starts with building a good business case. Usually if you are working as a consultant inside a company and want to give feedback to a certain organization of things not going well, you need to build a business case. And usually it's for our managers or our C-level executives who need to decide whether they want to act on your feedback, yes or no. So it needs to start with a small business case. And if you can rely on the impact that the certain behavior is having inside that organization, it will be much more easier for you, for them to also get along with your idea and the thing you would like to promote.
How would you convince the managers or stakeholders to break free from using and expecting the same patterns?
Yeah, as mentioned, it all starts with a good business case. I'm not sure if anyone knows the SPIN formula: situation, problem, impact, need. If you reach it to the needs of your manager by clearly defining this is the impact, if we don't do anything, this will be the impact. You will have revenue loss. We will have more production incidents. They will blame you and you will blame me. But I want to help you that they don't blame you. If you use this metaphor or this methods, it starts with the business case and it will really help them to also take it up on a higher level on how to make sure your initiative or your idea gets promoted in the company.
Okay. You just pushed a startup on me, but how will I get the feedback and go through all the stages without any employees?
That's a wonderful question. And today there are even online AI platforms on which you can jump your idea to, and you'll get feedback from a widespread organization or people who like or dislike your idea. I'm not sure, most of us are familiar with Lean Startup from Eric Rice, with all the different kind of stages that we need to do if you want to build a startup. Today, we will soon be seeing the first AI startups where you can go to this circle within just a week. On Monday, you have an idea. Tuesday, you launch it using AI agents. Thursday, you put your idea to a certain platform. I can provide you the platforms. If you connect with me, I will provide you the platforms. And you get instant feedback whether whether your audience is liking or disliking your solution. And you can move forward. And on Friday, you can sell everything and you'll make good money out of it.
Wow. Okay. Well, it looks like that's all the questions. I guess everybody's getting really hungry now. But if you have any additional questions or you'd like to talk to Davy, you can find him at the speaker's corner.
And I have the two gambles.
I'm going to go there right away. I want one of those books. Anyway. And ladies and gentlemen, it's lunchtime. Don't forget to read the bulletin board over there with all these speakers where they've explained how they got into the testing world and try to figure out who is who there. And like I said, speaker's corner. You want to meet with the speakers and have a one-on-one. And eventee. Don't forget to give Davy feedback on his presentation. It's outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you.